most criminals think that they've got about 20 minutes of time from the time they break a window before the cops show up with like alarm response times and the like. And you've got like alarm companies that call local law enforcement and then decide if it's an actual issue or a break-in, and there's a little bit of lag there. Well, it took about from the time the glass broke, so from the time that the rock is thrown through the window to when the guy was in the back of a car with handcuffs on, it took about 5 minutes. So, and that's including pursuit. We've got all sorts of fun stuff to go over. My name is Travis Young. What's up, Discord? What's up, YouTube? Thanks to our Discord community and the store community for always supporting whatever we do here on the channel. And let's just dive right into it here. So, story time, we got broken into on Thursday night, Friday morning, and basically I'm going to give you a play-by-play of what went down. The goal here, I know criminals, bad guys are going to watch the video, so I'm really going to show how it's not as easy as you think to get away with, and hopefully some tips and tricks I can give to other local store owners, whether it's card shops and retail or other industries. So the way our system is set up, the second glass breaks or there's any sort of like noise alarm, any sort of motion in the building, the second that happens, about 5 phones go off in the company for glass break alarm. So not only does ADT get notified immediately, local law enforcement gets notified immediately, but the owner, the CEO, my phone blares up and makes huge noise, and I saw it immediately. So it was 12:47. Glass break alarm, Fountain Valley. Thankfully, Fountain Valley is like super close to where I live, so it's like, okay, cool, not the most, and 12:47, not the latest time of all. So take a look at the glass break alarm, immediately kick into high gear, so my heart rate's elevated, boom, let's go. I shove my wife in bed and I say, hey, wake up, cameras. And by the time she had the camera app open, I was already on the phone with local law enforcement, which was Fountain Valley PD. I tell Fountain Valley PD, it's time, go. We've got a guy in the building, 11213 Slater Avenue in Fountain Valley, Kingslayer Games. Guy's in the building, he broke glass, he's currently robbing me, get there now. And the best part about that conversation was I heard on the other side of the radio, I could already hear other officers talking to the dispatch that I was speaking with. And they were motivated. I could hear the car engines revving through the phone. Like they were calling it. And I come from a background, my old man was at LAPD for 26 years. So I know how cops communicate, and I know when they're really motivated to go to a scene, and I could just tell they were booking it. So I thought that maybe there's a chance here. Sometimes we've had incidents where folks get away, and usually the losses are pretty minimal because they realize there's not a whole lot of not much to gain. But I could tell that this one might be a little bit different. So I'm talking to the dispatch. We're giving information on like hoodie, shoes, flashlight, brand, mask, gloves, all this stuff while we're communicating in those first couple minutes, which is key. Like being able to get that information that glass broke, motion, or that there's some sort of alarm incident for you local store owners out there. Getting that information and making sure it alerts like as many people on your team as possible, so that way if someone is like in a deep sleep or whatever, someone knows like, let's get on the horn and call local PD fast. Like if you're opening a new store in this industry or any retail industry, talk to your local law enforcement and just ask them like, what's the best number for me to call the second I get an alarm incident? And that like doing it that as soon as possible is like so critical. So I hopped in the truck, headed over there, let them know my make and model. So when I showed up on scene, they weren't surprised to see me. And I get there, and I noticed it was a little bit different the second I walked up. So I walked up, and usually local law, the Fountain Valley PD or whatever agency it is, would say like, oh, hey, bummer, sorry, we didn't get here in time. Like that's usually kind of the body language. But for this time, because we were so on top of it, they were kind of like, they were a little standoffish, and they were like, oh, who are you exactly? And interviewing me and wanting to get like information about the camera footage we saw like fast. They wanted to know details, they wanted the files. And so we were going through that process, and I kind of could tell something was different. And then eventually I asked them like, do we have anyone in custody? And they're like, we can't really talk about that yet. It's like, okay, interesting. And then eventually one of the 8 officers said like, we may or may not have someone in custody. And I was like, okay, maybe we just picked up a random guy off the street, or maybe we have our guy. So we walk in, they walk me through the store, we walk through together, and we talk about stuff that was missing and disturbed. I could tell from the camera footage and from being physically in the store exactly what was taken, and the loss was just under $3,000. So I knew we could give that exact description of the lost goods to the local law enforcement, to Fountain Valley PD. They could, and we had a video of the flashlight, video of the shoes, video of the hoodie, video of the mask, video of the gloves, and it was like there was like pieces on the footage that you could just tell, like, oh yeah, this is very, very unique descriptors. And so the other officers that had the perp in custody in his vehicle, which was great because the vehicle got impounded. They were able to say, like, oh yeah, that's the flashlight, those are the gloves, that's the mask, that's the hoodie, and all that stuff is super, super important when you're uploading all that footage, because the district attorney is going to need all that for evidence to book them in case they plead not guilty or whatever. So we had all that stuff, and so I've got the phone numbers of local board up guys just because this is, break-ins happen in retail. So they're out dealing with that. Officers leave. I'm sweeping up glass, which is pretty normal. Board up guy comes. Andres is the guy. I'm like, what's up, man? How we doing? Good to see you. Haven't seen him in like a year and a half. Little fist bump action. He's boarding up the window, doing a great job. And like by the time he's done, cops are already back, and they hand me back all like, oh yeah, this is the guy. Here's all your stuff back. Here's the case report number. The guy's information will be released probably at some point Monday or Tuesday, and our Discord community is really excited about looking at their mugshot. And this guy also had he had other wants out for arrest, and so for burglary in Southern California. So not only he'd hit us before, but he had hit other stores. We still don't know quite what stores or what those warrants were for. But this guy is not getting out anytime soon, and there will be a world of pain. His car was impounded, sad, so sad, and he's currently in jail. So not getting out anytime soon, which is really great. And we had a full recovery of lost goods. So really happy story going into the end of March. It can be really stressful running a business, and getting bad news is always crummy. So to be able to go from bad news to getting there, and I was on the phone with my wife when we were like, the whole time, about like a couple hours had passed from break-in to before we found out that they really had the guy and that we were getting our goods back. And there was a period of time where we kind of like signed off on the fact like they probably just picked someone up and he's not going to have the goods, and it wasn't our guy or something. And once I got the call from Fountain Valley PD, and they were like, hey, we're going to come we got it all back, and we're going to come drop that off right now. I called my wife, and we were like having an emotional moment. Like this is really something. Like the amount of good feels of like, wow, local law enforcement. Say what you will about law enforcement, but it was to have a really awesome result and an insanely fast response time, and like the whole city. Like I could tell from the phone that the whole city, like all Fountain Valley PD and potentially other agencies, were like descending. They pulled over multiple vehicles. They were searching all sorts of different areas. So the folks that think they've got a lot of time, like it's not necessarily true. Like unless you're a ninja and you can get in and out in like 5 seconds, which is not, with the certain types of glass film protection that's in place, with locks, with all sorts of barriers, with you've got scissor gates, you've got all this different stuff. Unless you're some sort of invisible ninja, like it's you don't have as much time as you think, and you might be spending the rest of the night behind bars and dealing with for breaking and entering alone without stealing anything, because they burglarized and broke into a building. That's already a felony. So, and this guy already had wants with other felonies. So it's world of pain that's going to follow your record forever. So, but yeah, hopefully it's useful to other game store owners to make sure you have like that system in place with local PD and with honestly as many staff as you can. I know a lot of owners want to do everything themselves. I know I do all the time, and just having other staff members in your leadership group, even if it's an assistant manager, it's like, hey, if they don't even necessarily need to be able to drive there faster than you, but if they can help, like just funnel to local law enforcement, like, hey, guys on site, get in there. So yeah, huge success story. We had we were looking at the last year and a half and thinking about the different like theft, crime related things that have happened, and in the last few instances, we've been able to figure out who they were, use camera footage, and coordinate with the information that the criminals give us. Sometimes they're selling stolen cards, and there's other stories for other times for sure. But I just wanted to do a little bit of story time here on that one because it came to a happy ending. But yeah, that's story time. The March, I think it was March 28th. I guess the morning of March 28th. Break in. So luckily this guy's behind bars. We'll get the information about him soon. But yeah, appreciate all the support from the local Discord community. Thanks so much to Fountain Valley PD for the support and bringing this guy in and your super fast response time. So very, very much appreciated. It helps us run our business, and yeah, it's a huge shout out to them. So appreciate you all. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.